I guess I started writing poetry when I was sort of 14 or 15, like a lot of kids do. I don't really know why I started because I certainly wasn't taught any poetry in school, and I hadn't really read any in particular. Before that, I had always written short stories from a young age, so I kind of had the idea that I wanted to be a writer, but I didn't turn to poetry until I was a teenager. With poetry, I think I like the fact that it's fairly short and that each piece you do is self-contained and is kind of a whole new world of its own. So I guess that's partly what attracted me to poetry. This collection, The Ninjas, is a kind of mixture of poems. Some of them are about sort of pop culture subjects like ninjas or ghosts or witches, and then some of them are, you could say, more about sort of high art. Like there are a number of poems that are inspired by works of art that are sort of more canonical, like from the 19th century or 17th century. I guess I'm also interested in sort of portraying the inner lives of the different characters that I write about in these poems. Sometimes I write what are called dramatic monologues, which are in the voice of a particular character or characters, so they're not about my own experiences. They're sort of almost like miniature stories, I guess you could say. You could say I'm definitely inspired by, the things that I sort of consume. So I have poems that are inspired by things I've come across on the internet, like this popular website that shows cute animals, or, again, things from pop culture that you pick up from like TV and movies, like ninjas. Like the poems that are about art are because I'm personally interested in art, and I go to museums and see paintings that I find inspiring. So I guess, a lot of the poems are drawn from just sort of the world that I inhabit. I think it's fair to say that my poems have a certain strangeness. I find I'm not that interested in writing about everyday life, I guess you could say. So again, I'm often drawn to things that are more fantastical or kind of outlandish, or even in terms of reality, like I was saying, quirky things that you read about on the internet or whatever, rather than sort of mundane everyday life or experience. No, obviously, like you can write a great poem that is about a normal everyday experience, like going to catch a bus and having some realization or something, but that's just not really the kind of poetry that I'm drawn to or that I feel inspired to write. I guess I also like kind of visual and textural details quite a lot, which of course, again, you could find in ordinary life, but I think I sort of tend to be interested in the ones that are more maybe outre or unusual.